Logan talking one. And that's fine if you like fractions, but the goal is simplicity, efficiency. We want to solve it in the quickest way. Fraction busting is that method, so we're just going to practice that for this unit. If you like fractions later on or you finish early, go ahead and use a fraction on the side. To fraction bust, before I can do any multiplication, I need to make everything into a fraction or a improper fraction. 20½ is a mixed number. That's not an improper fraction. I'm going to make that into an improper by getting mad. Multiply 2 by 20 and add 20 or add 40 with 1. 20 times 2 is 40. 40 plus 1 is 41. That's now an improper. I can move on. 3x is not a fraction. And then 5 1/3 is not an improper fraction. What's the improper fraction for this one, Colton?
16/3.
That works. Okay. From here, I'm going to simplify anything DCBI. If I can simplify it and it doesn't make a fraction, that's even better. So 3 times 16/3 will ultimately just fraction bust on its own. So let's do that to make it simpler. That's 1 times 16, which is 16. 3x is left over here. And 41/2 is over here. Okay. You now have an equation that is in pretty simple form. Everything's improper fractions. What can I multiply to fraction bust the lone denominator in this problem? Jameson. What can I multiply 41/2 by that will fraction bust?
2/41.
That's the reciprocal, and that would work for this one.
What?
But if I multiply 2 by 41 with 3, it's going to create another fraction, Chad talking 1. So if I want to just cancel this 2, Tessa, what do I do instead of over 41?
Maybe 1/2.
Let's test it out. 1 times 41 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. That's still 41/4. I'm stuck with a fraction. Hadley, what do I multiply instead?
2/1.
Let's see if that works. 2 cancels with a 2. This is ultimately going to cancel out. Once you have a 1 on the bottom, you found what fraction busts. So essentially, you're just going to multiply by the number on the bottom if you have only one denominator. Once you multiply one thing by 2, you have to multiply everything by 2. Why didn't I multiply 3x by 2/1? Why did I just leave it as a whole number 2? Turn and talk, 15 seconds, go. Lauren, I'll chat with you. Why didn't I multiply the 2/1 by 3x? Why could I leave that as a whole number? Because that was 2/1. That wasn't.
Because it's not a fraction.
It's not necessary. 3, 2, 1. Reese, why did I multiply this by a 2? Not 2/1.
Because it's a whole number.
Yeah, and it just looks messier if you have fractions with whole numbers. 41/2 was a fraction, so I make 2 into a fraction. 41 is left over. When you fraction bust, 1 times 41 is 41. 1 times 1 is 1. That's it. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 16 is 32. You now have a nice two-step equation without any fractions. My heart is happy, and we can solve it. Justice, what do I do first?
Minus 32 from the left side.
Okay, simplify it for me. What do you get on left and right now?
I get 9 equals 6x.
And you're going to divide by 6. 9 divided by 6 could be simplified. 9/6. A lot of us are tempted to make decimals, but when you have fractions in these equations, let's keep it fractions for now and make it in simplest form. Daniel, what do you divide top and bottom by?
Oh, what? I didn't get that far. I just got it in my head.
Divide it by 3 and you should get 3/2. Daniel, can you make 3/2 a mixed number? One and 1/2 should be the answer. Chad, did you have a question in that process, or does that make a little more sense?
Oh, I was just confused because I did it like where I didn't get rid of I didn't fraction bust, and then I got a way totally wrong answer.
Yeah. So there's a reason we fraction bust. It tends to be simpler. Logan, Daniel on task. Do the fraction busting first, Chad. And if you're done with everything, you can try your hand with just making things into fractions. It tends to have lots more blunders, though. It's just a harder skill to master. Next one. You have 5 equals negative 1/2 x minus 3 plus 1/2. Before you can fraction bust, we're going to simplify this thing and DCBI it. So I'm going to do negative 1/2 x minus 3. And I'm going to multiply that distributive property 1/2. It should turn into negative 1/2 x plus 3 over 2. So I'm going to keep moving on. Can I combine anything on the right side? Before I fraction bust, we're going to don't and cry. Daniel, what could I combine?
3 over 2 and 1/2.
Okay, what's 3 over 2 plus 1/2, Daniel?
4 over 2.
Which simplifies to what? Okay. Let's rewrite it. 5 equals negative 1/2 x plus 2.
So what's my mom doing?
This one's interesting. When you have fractions in these problems and they are only next to the variable, you could probably multiply something at the end called the reciprocal. For the sake of this lesson, I'm just going to show you how to fraction bust it, but I will set it to the side and I'll show you the alternate way too. To fraction bust this one, what do I multiply by, Lauren?
2.
Okay, let's try it. I'll make it red. Simplify this for me, Raiden. What does the left side look
Wonder.
like? What?
It's supposed to be 4, not 2.
What?
No, it
What?
turns
No.
into 4 when he times
4
it.
over 2. 4 over 2 is 2.
Yeah, but when you times it, it'll turn into 10.
No, because you did the 3 over 2.
Plus 1 over 2 was 4 over 2.
Yeah, and
4
then
over
2 goes
2.
Oh, that's 2.
Yeah. This is 2. You're good. Raiden, what does the left side become? Daniel talking to.
10.
2 times 5 is 10. What is the right side going to look like? 1 or negative 1? This cancels, it becomes negative 1. And 2 times 2, Raiden? Okay. Let's subtract 4. Subtract 4. 6 equals negative 1x. When you have a negative 1 in front of x, it's still not in isolated form. Nora?
Isn't the 2 over 1 supposed to be negative? Yeah.
You don't have to for this one because I'm fraction busting. If you made the 2 over 1 negative right here, you'd have to make this negative and that negative as well. I get your confusion though. I'm going to show you a brief way to do this easier in a little bit. The answer should be negative 6, Lauren.
Instead of doing negative 1x, could you just do negative x? Because that's
Yep.
basically
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. If you just start fraction busting, you're like, this isn't working. I'm going to show you an alternate way of doing this that Nora was kind of thinking of. When you have a fraction that's just by the variable, watch what I can do. Instead of fraction busting, I'm going to solve this thing in 2 steps. When you have negative 1/2 x, what's a way that I can cancel a fraction next to an x? I'm going to use something called the reciprocal, Avery. What do I multiply it by?
you multiply that by the same fraction you split upside down, so 2 over 1.
Yeah, so since this fraction was only on the variable, you could avoid fraction busting if you really don't like that method. And I can multiply by negative 2 over 1. This cancels that and kind of busts the fraction in one single step. Your answer is still negative 6. So only if your fraction is next to a variable can you do that method without fraction busting. Otherwise, you need to bust everything. Next problem. Last one. Cool. Which of these does not have, why are you so weird looking?
Whoa, that's kind of rude.
I know, it's okay, it can handle it. Let me
It's just a piece of paper.
get a PDF. Read it. Yeah. Read example 3, or I'm gonna read example 3. Then I'm gonna have you talk to your partner about what's different about this problem. Which of these does not have a solution of 5/3? Give me a few things that you notice that are off about this problem that are different from example 1 and 2. 30 seconds, chat, go. Just talk to your partner. What's different about it? A few things that make it more challenging. There we go. Is that what yours look like? Yeah, that's good. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is different about this page? What is different about this problem?
A doesn't have a fraction.
Good. Okay. Give me something else that's different. Silent hands. Avery.
Instead of it being like multiple problems, it's a multiple choice problem.
So they have 4 problems in the multiple choice. That's new. I don't actually have answers in here. I have 4 different equations. Chad.
They all have 3 of them.
They all have 3 somewhere in them. Okay, that's a similarity. So in this problem, it's actually 4 problems in one, so it's a little bit more work. I am looking for a problem that does not have this answer. For this problem, there's only one way to solve it, and it's a little bit more work, but I'm going to solve A, B, C, and D and find whichever one is not equal to 5/3. That's my answer. Add 9 to both sides. This is 3x equals 5. Divide by 3. This one was x equals 5/3. Is that my answer, Sierra? Would I circle that one
Yes.
and say A is my answer?
No.
Why not, Sierra?
It says that it's not.
Yeah, so I'm not looking for 5/3. I want the one that's not that answer. Avery.
I have a question about this entire problem. What
Yep.
if you find the one that does like not have the thing, but it's not D, and you just don't. You have to do all the problems still.
So for this sake, for this note session, I need A, B, C, and D to be written down, but in the future, when you get this on a test, you can scan A, B, C, and D and logically kind of mentally like see which one would be the best bet at the answer. Start on that one, sure. Save yourself some work, yeah.
What if like you do A and it's not that one? Do you have to
Do
all
B.
the other ones?
No.
Alright.
If you get the answer for A, go ahead and just circle it, yeah. Yeah. Actually, Hadley, I might go back on that. When you get a test, I might have you just do all 4 so that you can avoid blunders. Logan talking to. For B, we're going to solve this one. And let's fraction best it. What do I multiply by all terms to cancel that 5 out, Max?
5 over 1.
Yeah. This cancels and you get 5x plus 3 equals 5. Subtract 3, subtract 3. 5x equals 2. Divide by 5. X equals 2/5. Is that your answer? Maybe. Okay. So B is looking promising. Let's just do C real quick to make sure it's not that. What do I multiply by to fraction bust a 3, Finn?
Just subtract x over 1.
I'm not going to multiply this by x because this can't cancel a 3. What can I multiply by 1/3 that would cancel the 3?
3 over 1.
Good. Let's multiply everything by 3. And this turns into 3x plus 1 equals 6. Subtract 1, subtract 1. 3x equals 5. This does become 5/3, so it's looking promising that B could be the answer. Final one, 3/5 x plus 1 equals 2. Do you want to fraction best this or solve it the normal way, Colton?
Fraction best.
Okay.
Or solve everything.
Either way, because the fraction's next to the variable, I could just use a reciprocal, but you could also fraction best. Let's fraction best it since that's the route we're on right now. Multiply everything by 5. Cancel the 5s. 3x plus 5 equals 10. 3x equals 5. This is also 5/3.
Makes it B.
So the answer has to be B. In the future, if you do get two answers that come out to not be 5/3, you need to go back and just check blunders because there should only be one answer. Happy?
If you didn't fraction bust it, is that okay?
Yeah. So on the test, you had a way of not fraction busting it. We did 1 minus 3/5. You could do that as well. That's fine. For the more complex problems, like example 1, this problem should always be fraction busted. If you have more than one fraction, that's your go-to. Yeah, Chad?
Why is the blue tape on the ceiling?
Can I grab it?
Where?
Right
Over
here.
there.
No, that is for STEM.
That's for STEM?
Yeah. There's a project, a Rube Goldberg going on over there.
That's crazy, though.
If you're in STEM, you too might get to make a Rube Goldberg. Raiden says it's the best elective she's ever had. She wants to take it 4 trimesters in a row. Just kidding. Raiden is doing great and making a cool project. Some people like STEM more because it's like more sciencey engineering. Others find it frustrating. Either way, you're going to probably be in it once in the next 2 years.
I want to wait.
I want to try it, yeah.
I will force you to be in STEM.
When did I say that?
Never. I was being sarcastic. Raiden, you are really good at it, but I can tell it's not what you would choose to do in the future. It's not fun. What'd you say?
No, definitely not what I said.
I know, but you're good at it. You're better than you think. Next page, please.
Did you get Starbucks today?
Nope, I got H2O.
That's great.
You have, let's go 3 minutes of partner work, then I'm going to shift us to independent. Pencils up. Number 1.
Wait, no, I do.
Go. You may move to
No.
yourself or Jameson. Go ahead, Sarah. You can either go to Jameson or work there. Or slide over and work with Max. How about just go 1 over? We only have 8 minutes left. Yes, you can. Yeah, just slide over 1. Lauren. Go. Go. Mara Cooney is absent.
I have like more gray than it's
And it's gone as well. Uh-huh.